This is a production of PBS Charlotte.
Just ahead on Carolina Impact, we'll find out what precious cargo fills these kids' backpacks, and it's not books. It's something that helps them survive the weekend. Plus, find out how an outdoor adventure like this teaches local teens leadership. And we'll take you inside a cultural icon on Charlotte's West Side. Don't go anywhere. Carolina Impact starts right now.
Carolina Impact, covering the issues, people, and places that impact you. This is Carolina Impact.
Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Amy Burkett. It's hard to believe yellow school buses have become part of our daily commutes again. While some kids started the new school year with backpacks filled with supplies, others walk the halls with empty stomachs. Thousands of families across our region struggle to consistently put food on the table. Carolina Impact's Danielle Koser tells us about a Gaston County program making a huge difference.
Imagine not knowing when your next meal will come.
And they're hungry, they want food.
Imagine trying to focus on math problems when you're facing a bigger problem.
It's hard to focus on your schoolwork when your stomach's growling.
Imagine an organization that cares enough to help.
The idea that children were hungry in this community was unacceptable to me.
In 2011, Carolyn Niemeyer pulled together volunteers to form the Backpack Weekend Food Program, giving hungry children access to food on the weekends. The program provides meals for children in kindergarten through 12th grade.
The difficult part is to think about how many children come to school hungry and were brave enough to ask their teacher or someone at their school for something to eat.
Data shows in Gaston County alone, more than 12,000 children under the age of 18 live in food-insecure households, meaning their families struggle to consistently put food on the table.
It's a hunger problem in Gaston County.
We have third world situations within a 3-mile radius of our church. We shouldn't have children in our community, families that have no food.
Niemeyer partnered with her church, Holy Trinity Lutheran, and Novant Health to start the program. Today, it serves more than 40 of the county's 55 schools.
I've had students come back and say, I'm glad I got that bag of food because that's all I had over the weekend. We don't have anything at home.
DSS workers went into the home, no food, and I'm not exaggerating, no food in the home except for 2 little white plastic bags with the backpack program food inside of the bags, the only food in the entire home.
Here's how the program works. Each school partners with a church or community group that agrees to fund their part of the program for at least 1 year. A truckload of food comes in each week. Volunteers unload the food and form an assembly line to sort it and pack it. Once the food is packed, volunteers load up the bags and take them to the schools, where staff members put them in students' backpacks.
They're excited to be there and they're getting the food for the week, dropping it in their bags. It's kind of like Santa. Food in my bag, I've got a new pack, everything's gonna be okay.
Almost every school has a waiting list, proof of an overwhelming need for a growing problem in Gaston County. All of the children in the backpack program qualify for a free or reduced school lunch. The Gaston County School District says the number of students who qualify for free and reduced lunches is higher than ever before. When the backpack program started, about 58% of students district-wide qualified for a free or reduced lunch. Fast forward 5 years, that number has grown to 66%.
This program has been a tremendous help in so many ways. The program helps with testing, them to be ready for the day so they can stay awake and stay alert.
I do see a difference when students are fed and they are cared for, they do better. They're more focused.
The Backpack Weekend Food Program doesn't receive any federal funding, relying entirely on donations, grants, and help from volunteers. During the 2015-2016 school year, volunteers provided more than 300,000 meals to more than 900 students, a 7% increase from the year before. The program outgrew its original home at Holy Trinity Lutheran and moved into a warehouse just a couple of blocks away. More space means volunteers can provide meals for more children.
I usually don't get real emotional about things, but Sometimes when I look at the magnitude of all this, it's overwhelming to me.
Every hour that's invested is a labor of love to give these kids what they need for nourishment, to take a little bit of stress off the family.
The students selected for the program are identified by those who work closely with them, like school counselors and social workers.
I've had a parent be in tears and just so thankful because of the weekend backpack program. They didn't realize that was out there for them.
This program has been wonderful for our community.
A registered dietitian from Novant Health selects food based on the student's caloric needs, making sure it's nutritious and easy enough for a child to prepare.
And you see tears in their eyes. And you know their families that get that food because they know those totes, they know what's coming in there. And it makes a difference in people's lives, and that's what it's about.
Some crackers, instant noodles, cereal. It might not seem like a lot, but it sends a big message to those who need it.
We want them to know that someone cares about them and someone wants a better life for them. We want to offer them hope.
It's huge that they have that support and the confidence there that we're going to be there for them to make sure that at school you're going to get fed, we're going to take care of you.
The Backpack Weekend Food Program shows the power of a community coming together to help fight childhood hunger, one backpack at a time. For Carolina Impact, I'm Danielle Koser reporting.
Thanks so much, Danielle. The Backpack Weekend program can always use more community partners and volunteers. You can learn more about it by going to our website at pbscharlotte.org. Well, childhood hunger is just one of a number of issues that can lead to health problems. Dr. Ophelia Garmon-Brown with Novant Health joins me now to talk a little bit about them right now. Dr. Brown, we love your time and we always learn so much when you're with us. We've got 3 issues that can control so much of our health. Help us understand what those 3 issues are.
Diabetes, hypertension, and obesity.
And so when you say hypertension, that kind of leads to heart problems, right?
That's exactly right. It's high blood pressure. And high blood pressure does amazing damage to the blood vessels, the vasculature. And when it does that damage to the vasculature, every organ in your body can be affected by that.
And it's all impacted by obesity.
Unfortunately, yes. Obesity really, when persons become overweight or obese, they increase their chances of hypertension, they increase their chances of diabetes, and therefore they increase their chances of death.
And so many people, when you say obesity, and I know I found a great tool on your website at Remarkable You so that I could find out and the little reality of the difference between being a few pounds overweight or if you're officially obese. And it's all on there on our website so that people can learn. But you often think that we can't change it, where if we lose 10% of our body weight, we can make a huge difference.
Absolutely, absolutely. That person that weighs 200 pounds, if they lose 20 pounds, it makes an amazing difference. And that's one of the messages that Remarkable You, which is an initiative that we started a couple of years ago, where we're going in community and we're educating and we're informing people and we're screening people using A1C, point of service testing, blood pressure screening,
which
as
is
well
a
as
test
BMI.
For your blood.
That's exactly right.
Checks
we
your
prick
blood
that finger and it tells you about what your blood sugar has been in terms of the average over a 2 to 3 month period of time. So it gives you more than just a 1 point in time glucose. It gives you much more data than that.
And when we have information, we can make informed decisions to actually have control of our health, which is something that so many people think our health just deteriorates and we have no power over it. But I think you're here to tell us that we do have power.
You do have power, and the point that you're making about being informed, there are 30 million people or so that have diabetes. 1 in 4 don't know it. There are about 88 million people who have pre-diabetes, and 9 out of 10 of those persons don't know it. And if we were to leave those persons, that 9 out of 10, uninformed, about 30% of them over a 5-year period of time will actually travel to have full-blown diabetes. So we feel like through our Remarkable You initiative that this education and information is so critically important.
And what else would you say are sort of first steps? 1, knowing the information and knowing the reality of where you hit on that scale. What's another thing that we should know?
Know that those particular illnesses are quiet. You don't notice that you have hypertension. It's a silent killer. You don't really notice the effects of diabetes. But unfortunately, those two illnesses, whether you know it or not, they're causing your blood vessels to be damaged. So you find that the number one cause of blindness is diabetes. You find that the number one and number two causes of renal failure is diabetes and number two, hypertension. So while you're feeling like things may be okay, the slippery slope of what happens with chronic disease is occurring.
Dr. Ophelia Garmon-Brown, who leads the Community Wellness Initiative for Novant Health, thank you so much for being with us and sharing this empowering information.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, next up, we're talking about the Male's Place, a Charlotte program targeting young Black males with behavioral, social, and academic challenges. Carolina Impact's Tanisha Johnson tells us gardening has become the foundation for change for these kids.
From tilling the ground to picking produce, you'll find lots of teens working in this garden on Charlotte's west side. It's hard work, but they don't mind.
Once you get it done and you see what's happened, all the good work you've done, and you see how nice the garden looks, and it's I created that.
At 14, Denzel Xavier enjoys learning about gardening.
Because you save a lot of money when you grow your own food. You actually know what's in your food. And so you don't have to worry about GMOs and pesticides. We don't use any pesticides or anything like that. It's completely organic.
This garden is a part of a program called the Male's Place. Reggie Singleton says it evolved out of a decades-old Mecklenburg County Health Department initiative which targeted high teen pregnancy rates. But he modified the program to focus more on helping male teens become responsible adults. A big part of the program involves teaching them how to farm with older men who serve as father figures and mentors. Nearly all of the teens come from single-parent homes without a male adult figure present.
We know that young boys don't become men by chance. In fact, it was Frederick Douglass who reminds us that it is better to build strong children than to mend broken men.
Like these teens, Singleton remembers growing up without his dad and understands the benefit of having a male mentor.
We deal with the very definition of what manhood is, and manhood is a process, and we believe that there are three primary responsibilities, and that is the providing, the protecting, and the guiding for themselves, their families, and their communities.
In addition to spending time out here,
as a result of the manhood training I'm receiving at the Male's Place,
each week the teens gather to talk about a variety of topics, including religion, African history, African American heritage, and agriculture. There's a strong emphasis on getting these teens to open up, too.
I'm normally just a very closed off person for deep emotional stuff. I don't really do deep emotional stuff, but since joining the program, I've been more open with people and then hanging out with people.
Since the program is considered a no judgment zone, kids can be themselves.
It's kind of you kind of learn it's kind of cool to be different, because then you kind of realize it's really boring when everyone does the same thing and likes the same things, and it's just kind of come on, what's your opinion on this?
What these young men are learning here is priceless. It not only gives them tools for life beyond the classroom, but it also gives them, their guardians, and the surrounding community a new hope for their lives that once seemed unattainable.
Xavier says his mentors have taught him how to better relate to his mother.
I wasn't really close with my mom at first, but I feel me and my mom have gotten closer because we go through stuff. Me and my mom, we have disagreements and stuff, and so then one of the elders will come by and then we'll talk, and he'll help me work through it, and then he'll be so go talk to your mom, and I'll go talk to my mom. We'll talk about it, we'll talk it out, figure out what's going on.
Involvement in the Male's Place also helps reduce school delinquency and suspension rates.
We've noticed grades being better comments and remarks and feedback from parents, but specifically just the better body language, confidence within the young men.
Judy Robinson remembers the transformation in her own son after taking part.
He's more humble, he's more focused now. he sees his mistakes. He sees his mistakes. He's thinking about college now, which he wasn't really thinking about before.
Probably just a year.
A few years ago, Jerome Moore was headed down the wrong path.
I used to like lie a lot, take things, do what I wanted.
And bad choices also impacted his education.
When I first entered high school, I used to play around with it, not get my work done. Then they cracked down on me. They was like, you need to get this, or you ain't gonna graduate, and this not gonna happen. So I had to like change it around, get my work turned in, start getting my grades higher.
At 17, he plans to start Army basic training and pursue a career in engineering. Two goals he wouldn't have right now without encouragement from his mentors.
I've applied it like to my everyday life, because at first I wasn't like such a good kid, but like when I got into this program and they taught me those things, it like helped me be more responsible to where like my mom, she could like fully trust me again.
Watch your little fingers.
And helping these teens mature into responsible adults may be the most important thing taking place here. For Carolina Impact, I'm Tanisha Johnson reporting.
Thanks so much, Tanisha. Our kids will learn lots of new things at school this year, but how do you help them develop a sense of character, leadership, and service? 75 years ago, a man by the name of Kurt Hahn started Outward Bound to provide transformative experiences for teens out in the woods. Carolina Impact's Jason Terzes literally hiked deep into the woods with all of his television equipment to learn firsthand what it's all about.
It's Saturday morning, first weekend of summer break. 47 students from 5 Charlotte area high schools gather at Myers Park High School. Most have never met before.
Yeah, getting to meet kids that I don't normally get to hang out with.
They're here to spend a week together, hiking and camping in the mountains.
Basically, we're gonna go backpacking for a week in somewhere in Pisgah. I have no idea. It's fine. It's gonna be fun.
But it's not just for fun. It's all part of Outward Bound.
I knew already what Outward Bound was, and I decided to go ahead and check it out and go to the interest meeting.
I knew what I signed up for.
What they signed up for is a bare bones life experience. No showers, deodorant, phone, or any technology. Just the bare essentials.
After that, you really can open up and have a conversation or experience things without other items in the way. So without your cell phone being in the way, without internet or your computer or TV, right? It's just you, your people who are next to you, and the wilderness.
Students aren't recruited based on academic standing or leadership potential, but rather diversity and various socioeconomic backgrounds.
I mean, we tried to make it a true replica of what South Meck is in terms of diversity.
Maura McKinnon works at South Mecklenburg High School. She went on an Outward Bound trip as a 26-year-old in Oregon.
When I came off that mountain and when I came off that trip, I knew that I could do anything I put my mind to, and I wanted to pass that passion on to the kids at South Meck.
When she explained about the program, it was very intriguing to me.
Then it's onto the buses and off on the adventure.
Y'all ready?
Next stop, Pisgah National Forest. So what exactly is Outward Bound? It's an educational organization that aims to foster personal growth and social skills by using challenging outdoor adventure programs. And the Unity Project within Outward Bound emphasizes diversity, understanding, and teamwork.
So you're gonna work on compassion and leadership and talk about social change and diversity and talk about some real issues that are going on in your community and in your school.
It's now Tuesday, 3 days into the trip. So how are things going? Well, let's just say the struggles are there.
I feel like it's been rough.
It's pretty crazy, honestly.
I've camped before and I've hiked before, but never this intense.
The hardest part, I feel like, is not the hiking, just like the mental part of it.
It's just kind of socially acceptable here to be disgusting.
Definitely a lot less sleep than I thought.
I got about 100 bug bites, I think, on each leg. They're eating me alive out here.
Despite setbacks and challenges, some goals of Outward Bound start to take hold.
Put your fist in if you felt supported today.
Last night we had this conversation about what's going on in their school, what they see in terms of diversity, and what they want to bring as the Unity Club.
Put your fist in if you felt like you supported someone else.
For lunchtime, Caucasians sit at the tables by the window. African Americans tend to surround the doorways, and the Latinos are in the hallways.
Let's say Outward Bound there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they said that what they want to do is they want to change that up.
1, 2, 3.
Outward Bound!
On this kind of adventure, water is huge, so is protein. That makes peanut butter super popular. That protein is essential for all the hiking. But with views like this, that hiking doesn't seem so bad, even when it involves climbing or rappelling down huge rock formations with 40 pounds of gear strapped to your back. Up here, the group learns to rely on each other, as opposed to iPhones and Facebook.
The phone, after the first day, wasn't a big deal. I don't worry about it. Sometimes I think, what am I missing? But I don't think that I need it anymore, which is refreshing, very refreshing.
It's now Friday. Time to clean up, pack up, load up, and head home.
We made it, barely, but it was fun.
Home at last.
Coming home doesn't mean Outward Bound ends. There's another phase to the Unity Project, taking what they learned in the mountains and bringing it into the new school year.
Me personally, I'm gonna try to talk to a lot more people now.
These people, I knew none of them. I had seen them in the hallways, but I had never talked to any of them. And now, I feel like I'm so close to them.
They bonded with each other, they collaborated with each other, they had conflicts with one another and tried to work out the resolutions with one another, I think is important.
The true measure of the Unity Club's success will be based on what happens now that school is back in session. Can this group stay close together? And can they relay the messages of inclusiveness, teamwork, and understanding to other students?
This is only the part at the beginning of your course. Your course continues on after this. Can you continue to carry this light and this magic on afterwards?
But before getting to all of that, there's a few things returning students want and need to do first.
Shower. I need to shower.
When I get in the car, I'm going to McDonald's, then I'm going to Starbucks, then I'm going home, then I'm going to take a shower, then I'm going to go to sleep.
Would you do this again?
Oh yeah, definitely. I loved it.
For Carolina Impact, I'm Jason Terzis reporting.
Thanks so much for hiking into the woods to bring us that story, Jason. Well, next, we give you a rare peek inside a West Charlotte landmark. Carolina Impact's Jeff Rivenbark takes us inside the 70-year-old Excelsior Club.
As the sun sets on Charlotte's west side, drivers make their way home, the historic Excelsior Club comes alive. Inside, the beat of the music draws people to the dance floor.
Since 1944, the historic Excelsior nightclub.
Nationally known civil rights lawyer James Ferguson never imagined owning a nightclub until a friend urged him to buy the Excelsior back in 2005.
I thought about how important this club has been in this community and how important it was to have continuity if we could have it.
In the late 1930s, James Robert McKee, aka Jimmy, came up with an idea while bartending at some of Charlotte's exclusive white clubs.
He wanted to have a gathering place, a social gathering place in the African American community that was comparable to what he had seen when he was working in the white community.
Jimmy and his wife Minnie turned this 7-room house on Beatty's-Ford Road into a private club in 1944.
It was as fine a nightclub as anybody could hope to have in that era.
It was a place where black professionals could go and be able to have a drink and a nice supper club atmosphere.
Back then, buying a mixed drink was breaking the law.
So you brought in your own bag. What the Excelsior had there were little lockers, wooden lockers for members to have their own liquor there.
When you came in, you would buy a setup, it was called, ice or a glass or whatever you needed. And it was that way until liquor by the drink came in the 1970s.
Within a few years, Jimmy had so many members he had to expand the club.
In New York, you have the Apollo Theater. In Charlotte, you had the Excelsior Club.
You probably remember her as DJ Chatty Hattie. She tells us the Excelsior Club was the place to see and be seen.
If you hadn't dressed up and gone to an affair at the Excelsior, you just hadn't lived. I'm telling you, that was the in-crowd club. Yeah.
Soon it became an entertainment destination.
Big names, Motown Sounds, all of that, James Brown, all those folks. They played at the Excelsior Club, and it was standing room only.
Often when they would be performing downtown in some of the white establishments, they couldn't socialize at the places where they performed. So they would find their way to the Excelsior Club, and that's where they would socialize. And sometimes they would come and just do a jam session and perform right on the stage that's behind me right now.
Wilbert Harrison came out of the United House of Prayer in Charlotte, played here, eventually went national with a song called Kansas City. Kansas City, Here I Come. He had the first big hit on that, and he came up through the Excelsior Club.
Kansas City, here I come.
Many of the top entertainers of the day spent time right here in the Excelsior Club, and I often say to myself and to others, what if these walls could talk?
As the civil rights movement gained momentum across the South in the 1950s and 60s, Jimmy McKee used his influence as one of Charlotte's leading businessmen to engage the black community.
The Excelsior Club was an important political center even before African Americans had black people in office because of the restrictive voting rights laws.
In 1957, Jimmy and the club's board of directors sent a letter to the community saying the time has come for our people to be represented on city council, and he urged folks to get out and vote.
He took great joy and pride in having a place where people could come and plan and feel private and independent in making their plans and strategizing their movement.
And when you go in now and there's a nice disco ball in the middle of the ceiling, in the past, in the early days, I wasn't there because you couldn't see up to the second floor. Second floor was where politicians could come in and talk to movers and shakers up there. You go up that staircase and some meeting going on up there.
Getting a nod from Jimmy McKee was extremely important to white politicians.
The Excelsior Club kind of became the political stomping ground, both for African American politicians, but also for anybody who wanted to reach the black vote.
Lots of people crowded inside the Excelsior to celebrate its 40th anniversary in 1984. And later that year, health problems prompted Jimmy to sell the club.
Jimmy and Minnie McKee were not just club owners, they were people who brought together the community. And so it wasn't just a Saturday night place. It was a place that fed the community's needs all through the week.
Mementos like this are reminders of the club's milestones and how much folks appreciated Jimmy McKee's philanthropy and what he did to advance racial equality. But in the summer of 1985, Jimmy died of cancer.
The Excelsior Club is a landmark, not just officially by the Historic Landmarks Commission, but in people's hearts, in people's lives. And that's a special thing, not just for folks on the West Side, but for all of us in this fast-changing city.
While Charlotte's segregated past fades into history, James Ferguson considers it an honor to keep Jimmy McKee's legacy alive.
When you walk in the doors of the Excelsior Club, you're walking into history, one of the icons of a community. I feel that history. I feel that community, that social fabric that is so important to be a part of.
This Thursday night party designed for you.
And creating a place where people come together is what the Excelsior Club was and continues to be. For Carolina Impact, I'm Jeff Rivenbark reporting.
Thanks so much, Jeff. The Excelsior Club is temporarily closed for renovations, but will reopen later this year. That story was part of our special Remember When program, and 3 local Facebook friends of ours are each getting their very own copy of the 1-hour special hosted by veteran journalist Bill Walker. Congratulations to Amelie Stinson-Wesley, Jill Rice, and Philip Puckett. Now, we need you each to private message us your address so we can send your DVDs to you in the mail. Well, for the rest of you, be sure to friend us on Facebook for a chance to win monthly prizes. You never know what the next prize will be. And don't forget, you can watch all of tonight's stories and past Carolina Impacts by going to our website, pbscharlotte.org. Well, thanks so much for joining us. We always appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you back here again next time on Carolina Impact. Good night, my friends.
Production of PBS Charlotte.